Today, I'm going to explain a science fiction action film from 2017, titled Ghost in the Shell. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Films start in the future, where humans have become enhanced with cybernetic upgrades. Honka Robotics is the top company in this type of technology. And it is on the verge of developing a new kind of cyborg that uses a human brain to function. A woman, Mira, is being taken into Honka after an accident. Her brain is put into a cybernetic body with greater strength and agility. Once the process is complete, her designer, Dr. Ulit, tells her that her parents were killed in cyber terrorist attack. And her body was completely damaged, only her brain survived. And they made a synthetic shell, but her mind and soul is still in there. Ulit then talks to Honka's CEO Cutter. Cutter wants to put Mira in Section 9, an anti-terrorism squad, but Ulit feels she is not ready for something like that. Now, 1 year has passed. Mira is now known as the Major. She is on the roof of a building, listening in a meeting between Honka representative, Dr. Osmond, and an African ambassador. The Major receives her orders from Section 9 Chief Daisuke Aramaki, and works alongside Bato. In the conference, several geisha bots start to attack the people in the room, leading the Major to spring into action, against Aramaki's orders. She goes invisible, and jumps off the roof, before swinging into the room, and she starts shooting the geisha bots. One of the geisha bots hacks into Dr. Osmond's neck, and kills him, just before the Major gets to it. The geisha bot says, "Commit to the will of Honka and be destroyed." The Major shoots it. Later, Major sees a hallucination of a cat. On which, she takes a medication which are provided by Honka Robotics. Afterwards, the Section 9 team meets with Aramaki to discuss the attack. They learn that the geisha bots were hacked from a mysterious source, also uttering the same phrase that the geisha bot said to Major. The rest of the team leaves, but Aramaki talks to Major about her move by jumping into the room. Aramaki tells her that she still has her ghost within her shell. Later, Major and Bato are driving around the city. She mentions what little memory she has of her past, which involves her family dying getting to the country. While on the road, the Major sees a hallucination of a burning hut. Major meets with Dr. Ulit frequently, to fix her body when it's been damaged. The Major has trouble remembering her past, only seeing brief glimpses and flashes. Dr. Ulit dismisses her hallucinations as glitches, but she is shown to care for her. Major and Bato then meet with Dr. Dahlin, with the geisha bot body. To try and get more answers on the hacker, Major deep dives into the geisha bot's AI. Major finds herself walking through a club, with distorted images. She is grabbed by the entity. Dr. Dahlin tries to stop her, but Major is getting hacked, forcing Bato to pull her out of the connection. Major says she knows where to find the hacker. The duo go to a Yakuza nightclub. As they splits their ways, Major is pulled into a room by two men, who force her to dance, while she is handcuffed to a pole, and is zapped by a cattle prod. The room also blocks a signal for her to communicate with Bato. Major then starts fighting the men in the room, kicking one out of the room, and leading to a shootout that Bato engages in. He and Major kill a number of goons, before they head off to find the hacker. Major again sees a hallucination of a burning hut, and realizes that the room is really a trap. As bomb goes off, she pushes Bato and takes most of the blast. Major wakes up in Ulit's lab. She tells her that the blast blinds Bato, and damaged her body. Bato receives cybernetic eyes to replace his damaged ones, while the Major's body is repaired. Meanwhile, Cutter meets with Aramaki, with anger over the Major doing the deep dive. Aramaki warns Cutter who he's threatening since he answers to the Prime Minister and not Honka. Later, Dr. Dahlin has examined the geisha bot body. She finds the file name Secure Project 2571. As she tries to open it, the hacker finds her. She silently takes out drive, while hacker rips her eyes out, just before killing her. The next day, Section 9 team finds her body, and Major pulls a drive out of Dahlin's hand, which contains names of other Honka associates, while all of them are killed. The file also includes Ulit. They figure she is the hacker's next target. Scene shifts towards two sanitation workers, taking their meal. The hacker gets controls over them, to ram their truck into Ulit's car. She somehow survives, but the men step outside, and try to shoot her. Just then, the Major and her partners arrive, to shoot back at the men. In the shootout, Bato kills one of them, while Major chases after one worker, as he runs by a body of water. Think he escaped, but Major finds and fights him while invisible, until Bato shows up and stops her. The worker is interrogated, after the hacker's connection is severed. He tells them that he was on his way to pick up his daughter. The Major shows him a photo of what he sees as his daughter, but is really a picture of himself. They determine that the hacker placed fake memories in Worker's head. The hacker, whose name is learned to be Q's, then speaks through Worker to threaten Section 9. While Togusa traces the hacker's signal to a hidden location, making Worker jump to hang himself with the cable around his neck. Later, Section 9 members reach the location of Q's. They enter a room and start shooting at them. While Major enters a secret room, she finds Q's as he is connected to a network with other humanoid cyborg bodies. Major then moves ahead and began to hallucinate. Right then a group attacks her with cattle prod and knocks her. They ties her in a room. Q's comes and reveals that he was a test subject of Honka's, but considered a failure and a freak due to his deformed outcome. The Major then sees a tattoo on his chest of the burning hut, like in her hallucination. Q says that Honka took control over their lives instead of saving them. Even the medication they give is to suppress their memories. Right then team members comes, and Q's escapes, while Major 2 moves away from them to find the truth. Later, the Major confronts Ulit over the revelation. Ulit says that there were 98 failed experiments before the Major became the first successful one. Q's was the one from failed experiments. They even gave Major fake memories about her parents. The Major appears angry even as Ulit tries to defend her position. Major then goes for diving to relax her mind, where Bato comes too. Major then decide to go back and find more about her past. As they arrive in city, Honka's security arrest her and takes her to their headquarters. Cutter then orders Ulit to terminate Major by poisoning, due to her being a liability. As Major undergoes the process, Ulit, instead of terminating, she gives her an address so she can find answers for herself. Ulit lets the Major escape. She knocks the guards in her way and escapes, while Cutter shoots and kills Ulit in retaliation. And Cutter reports to Aramaki that the Major killed Ulit, and that she must be terminated. While the Major follows the address, which turns out to be her old home. Her mother is there. She doesn't recognize her. Her mother have believed that her daughter ran away and was killed. The Major's real name was Motoko. Her mother does sense a familiar look in the Major's eyes when she looks at her. As she leaves, the Major gets in contact with Aramaki, who informs her that Ulit is dead, and that Cutter says she killed her, though they both know the truth. They let Cutter listen in on their conversation as they plan their next move. Cutter then sends his men to kill Section 9 members, but Bato, Togusa, and Aramaki all survive, and kill their attackers. The Major makes her radar public, for Q's to find her. While following her memories, she reaches to a hideout. She meets with Q's, which resembles the burning hut. They learn that Q's real name was Hideo, and they were originally against augmentations with humans and cyborgs. Q's then tries to convince her to get with him. Just then the hut gets blast. The blast hits Q's and damages him severely. Cutter is controlling a spider tank to kill the Major and Q's. Major then retaliates on the spider tank. Upon her retaliation, Dr. Cutter fires back-to-back missile at her. Thinking that he died, he turns towards Q's, picks him up, and nearly to crash his face. The Major leaps onto the back of the spider tank, and tries to rip its back open. She uses all her strength, causing her arm to rip off, as she destroys the spider tank. Major falls down, and Q's crawls towards her. Q's again asks her to come with him, but she rejects. While one of Cutter's snipers rides on a chopper, and shoot on Q's head, eventually killing him. Whereas, Aramaki sends his own man, Saito, to take down the sniper's chopper to save the Major. Bato recovers the Major, who is still alive. Aramaki then corners Cutter after having spoken to the Prime Minister. Aramaki contacts Major and gets her consent to execute Cutter. He shoots him 3 times, as he falls into his own pool, and dies. The Major visits her own grave, with her mother, who now knows her daughter is still with her. At last, the Major's voiceover states that she knows there will be more like her, but she knows her enhancements do not define her. She then leaps off a building to her next mission. Well, that's it for the day. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.